Okay, now my next question is what was the process for you? Oh no, let me see how I'm gonna ask you this. Well, how did you discover your purpose, or at what point did you discover your purpose?
Yeah, so when I discovered my purpose, I was going through. I was working in the accounting field. I had been going through a period where I could tell I was awakening, you could say. And I had worked a lot of different jobs in the same field in accounting, and I just wasn't happy about, you know, being in those fields. And I just felt like I had more in me. There was something more that I needed to be doing, that I was supposed to be doing. And so I listened to different motivational speaker because I was trying to find, where I belong in the world. You know what I mean? And so, in particular, this one motivational speaker that I listened to from time to time, they said, look in your childhood. Your childhood is going to give you a lot of, clues about where you're supposed to be, because ask the people that were around you, ask your family, what did I enjoy doing when I was younger? What are the things I used to do when I was younger? So I know I remember I used to read a lot. I used to do a lot of reading. I used to talk to people. So I'm starting to put these little puzzle together and said, okay, so I did this and I did that. And it's like for me that wasn't enough because it was still itching at me. It's like, right, but it's not really telling me this is what I'm supposed to be doing. See, I'm a very direct person. I need like direct answers. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so I needed to find that. So it's almost like I was like on a mission trying to find what it is I was supposed to do. So I started taking personality tests. In particular, I took I don't know if you're familiar with the Myers-Briggs test.
Mm-mm.
It's a personality test. They ask you different questions about yourself, and at the end of it, they score you. Okay, so you scored in different areas such as, I don't know, education, investigative, if you were an investigative person or whatever. And so after I took that test, I noticed I scored the highest in education, and then I scored the lowest in investigative.
Mm.
Okay, so I was looking at that, and I had talked to someone and I said, well, education. So now I have a clue as to where I'm supposed to be. So I guess education is what I'm supposed to be doing. But what am I supposed to be talking about? What is the topic? What is the subject? I don't know. You know what I mean? So all those things I had to figure out. But also what it told me about investigative, even though I had a low score in investigative, it taught me that when I was growing up, I didn't ask a lot of questions. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask a lot of questions because I had a lot of anxiety growing up. Being part of a religion, coming from a strict background, and feeling like, if I ask a question, then I'm going to be turned down or I'm going to be told no. It's like, don't question anything that you're told. You just do what they say. And so when I look back in my childhood, I realized that that's where that comes from for me. You know what I mean? So of course that's changed now, but when you take these personality tests, you really want to pay attention to. Doesn't matter if the score is low, but it tells you something about. There's something about that you can find, in your life, in your childhood. Why is
Right.
it low? You can go back and try to ask questions to your family, other people that you grew up around. What do you think about this? You know what I mean? And so I discovered that teaching. My father is a preacher, so,
Mm.
and he is also a missionary now. He's more missionary now, but when we were growing up, he preached a lot. So I was like saying to myself, well, wow, it was all the time. The whole time it was right there in my face because I could have just figured out that that's what I was supposed to do because my father is a preacher. But out of 8 children, all the children are not going to be the same. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
But I know I'm my father's daughter because when I teach, I can hear my father's voice. You know what I mean? I get a flash of my father standing there and I'm looking at him and I can hear his voice. It happens naturally. So now I understand, and I feel at home in that space. You understand what I'm saying? I feel at home here in teaching in that space. So that's how I discovered that that's what I was supposed to do. And it's almost like when I figured it out, I was like, oh, I thought it was something else I was supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? So I guess what
Yeah,
I'm saying is when you figure out what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to be doing, accept it. You know, because that's what your assignment is. That's what your job is to do, whatever the assignment.
definitely. That family history is very important. That's why I had to write my book. You know, I had to dig deep and learn
Mhm.
about my uncles, and you never know what runs in your family and where things
Exactly.
come from. And you could use those things to your advantage. They could be your strengths. They could be your foundation. They can empower you, you know, to do something powerful and continue on with the legacy for sure.
Yeah, because my father always worked for himself, even when we were growing up. Like my father never worked for anybody. You know what I mean? And even though he didn't say in words that we had to work for ourselves, he did it, you know, in front of our eyes because you know he had his own workshop. He's a carpenter. You know,
Okay.
he built different, you know, cabinets, tables, chairs for people. You know, he had clients buying, you know, different things. So my father was always um, a businessman. He's always, you know, always worked for himself. So, and it's like when you're younger and you see it, but you don't really make the connection until you're older. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I need to follow in his footsteps. That way, you know, you don't have anybody over you telling you what to do. You work for yourself, you're your own boss.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he planted a seed in you early on, but sometimes it just takes time to process, you know.
Exactly, exactly. Because you think maybe this way is a better way, or you know, everybody's doing it, so I'll just do it too. But you know, especially right now in these times, a lot of people are becoming more self-sufficient now because of the restrictions with the vaccine and all of that, and the government imposing their laws. So people who don't want to take the vaccine have to resort to creating their own. You know,
Yeah, definitely.
so.